Leo, welcome to your monthly horoscope for February 2024. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in this monthly horoscope, I will be walking you through each week of the month, giving you a really good understanding of the major themes, topics, and energy that you will be navigating for the month of February. So let's get right into it. Now, I want to start by mentioning that as we come into February, we will have all planets direct. So it is a go time. It is time to start implementing and moving forward with whatever it is that you really want to build and create for the year of 2024 and beyond. Now, we also have Pluto back in Aquarius, which is opposing your ascendant, essentially for Leo rising. And so you're really feeling this Pluto and Aquarius energy. And especially for the month of February, there's going to be a lot going on this month for you because we have all of the personal planets currently in Capricorn. And throughout the month of February, the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, are going to be entering Aquarius and forming a conjunction to Pluto. So, right as soon as we come into the month on February, on the 1st, we have Mercury still in Capricorn at this point, forming a sextile to Neptune. So, Neptune is up here in your eighth house, Mercury is in Capricorn. So, there's a lot going on here in the sixth and the seventh house coming into February. The sixth house representing your work, health, and daily routine, and the seventh house representing your relationships and one on one connections. So there can be quite a lot going on, even just coming into 2024, but especially throughout February around these areas of life. So you may be focusing more on your, nutrition habits, maybe your health, maybe really busy at work, your work routine or home routine, all of your routines. There's kind of a lot of focus on this area. Now, I love the Mercury sextile to Neptune because Mercury being in Capricorn, where we're able to kind of stay grounded, our head doesn't kind of float too much up in the clouds because that can happen with Neptune. Neptune ruling, ideas and creativity and, imagination and romance as well. This can bring in some type of opportunity for those themes and topics, but we're able to ground them in such a structural way and kind of put our creations on paper, if that makes sense. So I really love that for ideas, creating and implementing them with that Mercury in Capricorn. Now, on the 5th, we're going to have Mercury entering Aquarius and forming a conjunction to Pluto. So throughout the month of February, we're really going to get an idea of what this Pluto and Aquarius energy is going to feel like having all these conjunctions, especially at the 0 degree of Aquarius, which is going to be activated quite a few times. So, this being in your seventh house, I mean, there's a lot here going on around relationships and one on connections. And having Pluto transiting your seventh is going to really transform how you connect to other people in your life and transform your relationships in some way over the next 20 years. But you're really going to get a feel for what this is going to bring this month. So, Mercury forming in conjunction to Pluto, I mean, Mercury does rule your second house of money, finances, and material possessions, and also your 11th house of friends and friendships and social groups. So it could have to do with these themes and topics and areas of life with this Mercury conjunction to Pluto. This can also be maybe receiving some type of information or message or having a conversation within a relationship that is very transformational, can definitely show up in that way. And also on the 5th, we're going to have Venus forming a square to Chiron, and Venus naturally ruling relationships and self love, self worth, forming a square to Chiron, which is the asteroid that represents, our wounds and vulnerabilities. There can be something triggered at this time around lack of self love or lack of self worth or even lack of self confidence. So I want you to keep in mind that whatever is showing up at this time, squares bring in these opportunities for amazing growth. So keep that in mind coming into February, especially the first week of the month. Whatever is showing up for you, even around old hurt, old trauma, this is maybe showing you there's some things you need to change within your daily routines or maybe even your health to get your vibration higher and make you feel better so that you can heal and overcome, whatever these traumas and hurts are. Sometimes, having lack of self love, self worth, and self confidence can really be transformed when we start loving ourselves more and taking care of our own not just energy, but our body, eating healthier, like loving ourselves enough to make that right choice on choosing, the healthier decision when it has to do with really everything. And so this may be something that you're navigating, with this energy. Now, we're also still in that Saturn Jupiter sextile, which is an energy we've been in for a few months, a few weeks at this point. And I do love this for amazing opportunity for growth and expansion. Now, you have Taurus in the 10th house of career and public reputation, which is where Jupiter is transiting until May. So, Jupiter is transforming and bringing in some growth and expansion in this area of life around career and public reputation. And then having Saturn in that 8th house of your partner's finances or money coming in from outside resources, or even psychological healing and transformation, there can be, some amazing opportunity, especially a lucrative opportunity, and opportunity even to make more money at work. I find that can be long lasting with that Jupiter sextile to Saturn. Now, on the 6th, we will have Venus forming a T square to the nodes. And you have the North Node, which is the glyph here that looks like headphones, transiting your 9th house, and the South Node transiting your 3rd house. So, your 9th house has to do with higher education, higher knowledge, long distance travel, philosophy, religion, belief systems. And your 3rd house has to do with communication, your mindset, your thought processing, also vehicles and local travel. So there's a lot of changes taking place this year in these areas of life because the nodes represent where we're having the eclipses. So when we have a T square to the nodes, which indicate a certain direction, the North Node representing something new, some new direction we're moving into, and the South Node representing something we need to release, let go of, or something from the past. Whenever we have a T square to the nodes, this really does show tension around a direction or a decision that needs to be made. So when Venus forms this T square to the nodes, Venus being in that 6th house, and Venus also ruling your 3rd house and your 10th house of career, I mean, there might be a decision here around career that needs to be made. This could even have to do with maybe traveling for a career, maybe having to let something go in order to take advantage of a career choice. But there is a decision at this point and some tension here. And sometimes T squares can also indicate wanting to do both, like wanting to move in both directions, but not being able to, and really having to kind of, choose one way or another. Now, on February 7th, we're also going to have we're going to have Venus form a trine to Uranus. So Venus is still going to be in Capricorn at this point in your 6th house, forming a trine to Uranus up here in your 10th house. So this can show some really beautiful surprise coming in around work and career or work routine, maybe something changing within your routines in some way. But it's like a beautiful surprise because it's a trine. So it's a very easy feeling energy. However, because Uranus is involved, it's kind of shocking and out of the blue, but not necessarily disruptive in a negative way. Now, on the 8th, we're going to have the sun form a square to Uranus. And whenever we have, the sun forming a square to Uranus, I always look at this as, the sun is your chart ruler. And so you're going to feel this more so than any of the other signs. But the sun rules our consciousness, right? And self-identity in some way for the other signs, but really for you because the sun is your chart ruler. This can be a day, and also because Uranus rules the electrical systems in our body, this can be a day where we really are struggling with keeping our vibration high. This could be like an energetic up and down day. So, taking care of your energy, your physical body, and just understanding that, maybe you're not going to have, tons and tons of energy this day to kind of go after what you want. And this is also too where we can have like sporadic insight. And because it's a square, there could be a delay with that. Like maybe you're having a hard time connecting, like if you meditate or, tap into the energies around you, this could be a day where it's just a little more challenging. Or there could be something showing up for you because I always look at squares as opportunities for personal growth. Now, on the 9th, we're going to have our new moon in Aquarius squaring Uranus. And so this new moon's taking place in your 7th house of relationships and one-on-one connections. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on the new moons and the full moons in the horoscopes because I do post new and full moon forecasts on my channel where I get into all 12 rising signs. And I also get into the chart for the moon. So make sure you subscribe subscribe so you can check those out. But when I look at the charts for the new moons, I really look at this as an imprint on how the intentions are going to manifest. So the fact that this new moon is going to be squaring Uranus shows that the manifestations are going to show up in ways that you never expected. Like expect the unexpected. And because it's a square, yes, it's going to be room for growth. But it's not necessarily going to be easy flowing. There could be challenge here, like some unexpected upheavals. So yeah, just be mindful of that. But watch for the forecast that I post for the moons because I'll really get into that energy. Now, on February 10th, we're going to have Mercury forming a square to Jupiter. So at this point, Mercury is in your seventh house in Aquarius. And Mercury in Aquarius is an energy of, there's lots of ideas, lots of innovations. We're really kind of thinking up a lot here. And squaring Jupiter can just be too much where we're not knowing what to do. Like we could have a hard time focusing with this. We could have a hard time just picking one thing. This can be overthinking something. This could be, there's a lot of information coming in and we don't know what to do with it. There could be a lot of thoughts going on and we don't know how to focus. Like this could be just a lot kind of being presented, especially collectively. Like we could be seeing a lot of news and information coming out at this point. Now on the 11th is when we start the North Node Chiron conjunction, which is going to last for 2 weeks. This is a 2-week transit. And this is happening in Aries, which is in your ninth house of belief systems. It's part of this new journey and direction we're moving in with these nodes and eclipses. And Chiron representing, old wounds and vulnerabilities. There can be something presented over these 2 weeks, but like really able to transform and grow on such a deep level that completely changes the trajectory of your direction. And so I love this. It's a conjunction, so there can be balance required. It can be a mixed bag, but it's opportunity for amazing internal healing and growth. So I want you to keep that in mind throughout the month of February. Whatever is showing up around old hurt, old trauma, and wounds and vulnerabilities. This is an amazing opportunity for growth and transformation. Now, once we get to the second week on the 13th, we have Mars entering Aquarius and forming a conjunction to Pluto. And we know that Mars can be quite volatile. This is where I think, collectively, and I will be posting a collective forecast for the month of February. But for you, this is all happening in your seventh house of relationships and one-on-one connections. So there's a lot of focus on relationships the month of February. And there's a lot going on too. I mean, Mars rules this North Node Chiron conjunction, which is in the ninth. So it could be something around a relationship that is triggering this old wound and hurt to kind of bubble up that you're having to heal from maybe in order to move forward within a relationship. This can also be, Mars is also the co-ruler of your fourth house. And that's the thing is with this Mars-Pluto conjunction, because Mars and Pluto both rule Scorpio, I feel like Scorpios and the Scorpio areas of our chart are going through something. And so for you, you have Scorpio in the fourth house of home, family, property, and real estate. So there can definitely be something around home and family you're having to address at this time. But again, it can show up with relationships, and maybe the one-on-one connections, or maybe the family, or it's something around that can be triggering that hurt, wound, and vulnerability that you're having to heal from. And there might be a need to release and let something go in order to move in this new direction. There can also be a change in belief systems with this because it's in the ninth house. Now, on that same day, we're also going to have Venus forming a sextile to Neptune. Venus is going to be still in Capricorn at this point, sextiling Neptune. So Venus being in Capricorn is great because it's keeping us grounded, logical. We don't have our head too much in the clouds because sometimes when, Venus or Mercury can connect to Neptune, we can over idealize things. This is able to keep things kind of realistic, especially when it has to do with romance, romantic connections, even imagination and creativity. So this is really nice. I love this. Then on the 14th, we have Saturn. We have the Saturn Jupiter sextile. So they're basically shifting degree points. I've listed them, but we've been in this energy for a while now. I mean, at this point, it's been about a month. So again, it's just this amazing opportunity prosperity, which I've kind of already mentioned around career and, money, money coming in from outside resources. It could also have to do with your partner's finances as well. Now, on the 16th, we're going to have Venus enter Aquarius and then form a conjunction to Pluto. So see how we have all this energy here? Now, this could be where maybe you're meeting a new one-on-one connection, Venus ruling that 10th house. You could be, this could be transforming your career in some way, transforming your public reputation in some way, transforming your mindset in some way because of Venus ruling the third house. This could have to do with a vehicle or local travel. I mean, or because it's in the seventh house, this could be you, meeting someone. I mean, maybe you're meeting someone. And I'm sure for some of you, this will be the case where the month of February, you have so much going on and you're meeting so many people and creating so many one-on-one connections. I'm sure for some of you, you will be, meeting some love partners and creating love partnerships and love connections with this because that seventh house is just so busy. So there's a lot of relationships. There's a lot of energy around relationships the month of February. And when Venus forms a conjunction to Pluto, there can be some type of deep transformation taking place because we want to remember Pluto rules. And also, this is opposing your first house, which can also indicate balance required, like you may be needing to it's like opposing you, right? So whatever you're going through with one-on-one connections, there could be releasing and letting go of something that you're having to do. Like you're having to release and let go of a part of you, like maybe an old mindset, or a toxic behavior. And I'm sure for some of you, it can show up in that way, not for all of you. But all this energy, in the seventh is opposing, this first house, which is you. So we also want to keep that in mind as well, which can make it, a little bit challenging. And oppositions really show that there is balance required. We want to integrate these energies together. Now, on the 16th, we also have Mercury forming a square to Uranus. And so Mercury is going to be in Aquarius. And I love Mercury in Aquarius for ideas and creations, innovations. But forming a square to Uranus is, again, it can be anxiety. It can be, not focusing. It could be just too much coming in at once, not being able to kind of stay focused and structured and move forward that can feel all over the place a little bit. So we do want to be mindful of that. Then on the 18th, we have the sun entering Pisces. So we start Pisces season. And just like Aquarius season with our first time moving through Aquarius season with Pluto and Aquarius, it's our first time in Pisces with Saturn in Pisces in 30 years. So this Pisces season is going to feel a little bit different. And Saturn can be a mixed bag because Saturn can bring hardship and challenge and delays. But Saturn really wants us to become more responsible and accountable and dedicated in this area of our life. Now, once we get to the third week of February, on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we have Venus and Mars doing this interesting dance. Now, for you, you have this amazing Venus-Mars conjunction because I love a Venus-Mars conjunction, literally in your seventh house of relationships, because Venus conjunct Mars can literally indicate like the masculine and feminine coming together, and it's in your seventh house of relationships. So like this is really great for relationships and one-on-one connections. Now, I'll be talking about this in my collective forecast because when we had the Venus-Mars conjunction in Capricorn, that's when we had the trucker convoy in Canada. So because this is literally in Aquarius, which rules the collective, the people, humanity, I really think we're going to be seeing with all this Aquarius energy the month of February, we're going to see a lot of protests and riots and just people coming together. But on the 22nd, that Venus-Mars conjunction does come exact. I believe it's at 6 degrees. They move together. They travel together from 5 degrees, 6 degrees, and then 7 degrees. And then I think Venus moves on. And then on the 23rd, we're going to have Mercury enter Pisces. So we'll have Mercury enter this 8th house. So there becomes a little bit more focus on those 8th house themes and topics like psychological healing and transformation, or maybe your partner's finances, or maybe money coming in from outside resources in some way. The 8th house can also represent death and rebirth. It's very transformational. It's very psychological. So there can be a lot more focus, in this area. Then on the 24th, we will have our full moon in Virgo at 5 degrees, which is in your second house of money, finances, and material possession. So again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but think back 6 months prior to the intentions you set at the time of the new moon in Virgo. This is when you can see those intentions come to fruition. But either way, this area of your life is being lit up by this full moon and opposing, Saturn. So the last full moon in Virgo, we did not have Saturn in Pisces. So this full moon will be opposing Saturn, which does bring in a little bit of restriction and difficulty. But on that same day, we will also have Venus forming a square to Jupiter. So Venus being in Aquarius, squaring Jupiter. And sometimes with these Venus Jupiter squares, we can be losing a little bit of optimism and having a hard time believing in ourselves. So if this is the case, it will pass. Take care of your energy, say those positive affirmations, because sometimes Venus Jupiter squares can be difficult for, self-love, self-worth, and just being a little bit hard on ourselves, and also overindulgence, especially with Jupiter and Taurus. And yeah, so we do want to watch for spending too much money, overindulgence, and just keep those positive affirmations going during this Venus Jupiter square. Then once we get to week 4 on the 26th, we're going to have Mars square Jupiter. So we had Venus square Jupiter, now we have Mars. Now, when we have Mars square Jupiter, we want to remember Mars is in Aquarius, the collective, the people, also in your 7th house of relationships. So there can be something like just overwhelming going on at this time because Jupiter amplifies and expands everything. So whatever's kind of being presented at this point, whatever you're going through, it can just become like really overwhelming a little bit. And then on the 27th, we will have, well, the 27th and the 28th, we have the Mercury Cazimi, but we also have Saturn involved this time, which is really interesting because when we have a Mercury Cazimi, this is when we have really sudden inspiration and insight coming in, but we have Saturn here now. So it's like, it could be a mixed bag. It could be like there's, challenge and restriction felt here, or it could be like this understanding of, I know how I want to implement this. I know how I want it structured. I know, the foundations I want to create to build. Like it could be a mixed bag. And then on the 29th, we will have Mercury sextile Jupiter and the Sun sextile Jupiter. So this is really bringing in, beautiful opportunity, actually beautiful optimism, feeling very creative and optimistic can really be this energy, especially with Mercury and the Sun in Pisces. It can feel very romantic, very imaginative, very creative. I really love this. So this could be really, really beautiful, especially kind of coming off of the difficult energy with the squares. But Leo, I really hope this kind of helps you navigate the energy for February. If you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be posting monthly horoscopes the last day of every single month. I did not start January because I wanted to start with all planets direct. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a horoscope. I also post weekly forecasts and new moon and full moon forecasts going into all 12 rising signs and much, much more. So make sure you subscribe so that you never miss an amazing update for astrology or the energy. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you in the next one.